Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning to the pregame cheat sheet. I'm Darren Smith, along with Steve Walls, and Steve decided that his digs was much better than Las Vegas this weekend, so he decided to stick in town with us little people this week. Steve, what's going on, man? And of course, for everyone joining in, we're about to preview the Kansas City Chiefs in their regular season finale at 6-10, taking on the Las Vegas, who are at 2-14. If they lose this game, will be guaranteed the number one pick in the NFL draft. So, Steve, I guess the question is, do the Raiders figure out a way to try to be spoilers in what could be potentially Pete Carroll's last game as the head coach, or does he just follow the script and lose the game and and the Raiders get the number one overall pick?
I think they're gonna tank. It makes it's no reason for them to it's no reason for them to win this game. I mean, they're going for that pick and all the players though. We talk about incentives. There's still some players on that Raiders team that have some incentives for this game. I'm not sure if Ashton Genty is playing or not, but he
May as
needs like
well.
I believe he needs like 121 or 118 yards to get or his rookie year to have 1,000 yards. So I
112,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, so there's one, and that's kind of nowadays as a running back as a rookie, that's a milestone, right? And so I think he's one guy that would definitely not want to tank. Um, and then you still have guys like um, the leaders on the team that still are leading this team, and you have some guys that still wanted to play, but are like Max Crosby. They ruled him out earlier. I think it was last week, saying that he's not going to play, and he was wanting to play. Um, so at the end of the day, what the front office wants to do and what the players want to do sometimes don't mesh. But I feel like they're still going to come to play today, and who knows if this Chiefs team go out there and plays horribly, it could be bad news for them.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, Kansas City, some of the veterans have some things to play for. We talked about on the Red Hour this week that Travis Kelsey, has some team records that he would like to get. Kareem Hunt, of course, his contract incentive. I think he has to play. I think what 50% of this game, or 50% of the snaps or whatever. So, it's interesting because as an organization, you put incentives in place for various reasons. One, on the one side, if the team does well, you want the players to get their incentives because that means that everything is working out for the team. On the other hand, if they're not, the organization really ain't trying to pay you for it. So it's like and sometimes I feel like they put the finger on the scale by with a Max Crosby, some of these other players who aren't playing. But you look at a Kareem Hunt, saying I think that they'll try to help him get his incentive because he's been loyal to the team. I mean, and he
Yeah,
hasn't, I mean, he's been there all season, and so. But you also got to mix it in with the fact that you want to see some of these younger players, i.e., Brashard Smith at running back. Of course, he spoke to the media on Friday and talked about how he needs to pick up some weight, some other stuff. But we also want to see Jalen Royals. You know what I'm saying? But I think someone like Marquise Brown needs to get a touchdown catch, I think, for some money. And of course, it's a matter of what do these coaches weigh out, you know what I'm saying? And for me, I think Andy's a little bit more on the loyal side to the veterans than he is the rookies. And so I I think that we'll see, we'll see a player like Kareem Hunt get his incentive. I don't know about Kelsey only because he's going to be too dependent on Chris Oladukin, and I just don't know. Unless the Raiders are just playing the base defense, I'm just not sure whether or not we'll see Kelsey, break any records today.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you look about think about these young guys. Oh, excuse me. When you think about these young guys, man, you definitely want to see what you have, and
Yeah.
what you don't have.
Yeah, and when we're looking at, like you said, the Raiders, you got Ashton Denty, and the other thing is too, we could be potentially, and one reason why I wanted to make sure that we give our audience what we want because this could potentially be the last game that we see some of the players who coming out of that 2021 draft, I think it was 2021 22 draft with Leo Chenal and and Isaiah Pacheco, and and those players like that. This could be the last game that we see. Now, obviously, Leo is on the injured reserve, so he's not playing regardless. But this could be the last game that we see of Isaiah Pacheco. And so, again, you know, do you play him for limited snaps? Do you allow him to play as many snaps as possible so he can put some more stuff on tape, on film, so other teams can get an opportunity to possibly pick him up in the offseason? And so,
I
you
mean,
know,
you got those guys. You got those guys, and I feel like you even when you look at like Isaiah Pacheco, teams pay for wins, right? Like what I mean by that is teams pay for guys that have won the Super Bowl because that's somebody that you want to have in your locker room because they know what it takes to get there, and they know, if you do so happen to do so, um, you have that kind of guy that you can kind of rely on. Like, hey, I've been here. Uh, I've been under Andy Reid. I've been in this type of offense. I know what it's like to win. You winning breeds winning, if that makes sense.
yeah,
And when you bring somebody like that, that's in the locker room. I mean, we saw what it was like when we brought Terrell, or when the Chiefs brought Terrell Suggs in.
yeah,
It turned because he knew a winning mentality, and he was a veteran. Like Isaiah Pacheco's been in the league with 5 years now, and so he knows what it takes. He knows what it takes to win, and he knows when things aren't right, what it takes to turn the tides. And so when you get a guy like that, I think this Andy Reid is known for being a player's coach for this exact reason, right? He's not going to do anything that will say, oh, well, you need, just for instance, you need 50 yards, so I'm only going to let you play it until you get 49. He's not
yeah,
that
yeah.
type. To me, he's not the type of dude unless it was like Travis Kelsey, or for that matter, Rasheed Rice, his rookie season, when he needed what was at 30 yards to get to 1,000 yards in his rookie year. However, there was a bigger picture, right? Like they wanted to get to the
Well,
playoffs,
they well,
and
yeah,
and you had to hold back.
yeah. I was gonna say, and I think at that time I think they had the number one seed, so it was just a matter of not
Yeah,
getting players injured, taking the week off, and making sure.
Kelsey.
Yeah, yeah,
Kelsey the same way. So like
yeah.
today, feel like I believe Kelsey needs like 100 and some odd yards for him to get have 1,000 yard season. And that will that happen? Probably not. But if he's in the realm of that, and he's not gonna say no.
Right,
Um,
right.
so that being said, I think a lot of these guys still, like on this Chiefs team, still have a lot to play for, even though we may not see them. But then you get some guys that have already checked out. I mean, you look at like Jalen Watson. I saw his post. What was that, a couple of days ago, where even though he's not playing today, he was like, "Hey, if Chiefs Kingdom, if this is the last ride, I appreciate you guys." Like that's not something that you put out there before the last game of the season. To me, I could be wrong. I could be, get off my line right now, but I
Well,
don't
we
feel
saw
like
that.
that's something that you
But
put out
remember,
there.
we saw that with the linebacker that we had, Willie Gay. You know, Willie Gay did that. I mean, he kind of knew that he wasn't coming back or whatever, and put that. So I mean, I get it. I mean, and look, we hope for the best in some players. Again, if you're not playing, I mean, you're already checked out. Essentially, you just taking a free trip to Vegas to, saying to go. Look, Kansas City comes to this game 6-10. Kickoff is at 3:25. You can watch the game on your local CBS station. Regionally, it's not a national game, of course.
I,
And so,
I got Eddie Kennison joining on the show. What's up, Eddie? How are you doing?
what's up, Eddie? We appreciate you tapping in with us, brother. Yeah, and so Oh, and shout out to my mom. I don't know if she's watching now, but I know she's going to text eventually. But look, the Chiefs come into this game, Steve. They're scoring 22 points a game. And look, one other thing that we're not talking about is that while this this game will be a showcase more or less for some of the players putting stuff on film, and I believe our friend Eddie can attest to this. But this is also going to be what you put on tape with someone like Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo, because obviously with the moves that are being made in Tennessee this past week, former Chiefs executive of the GM down there is going to be, love you too, brother. Is going to be in charge of the coaching search, the hiring search, along with the roster. So he's going to be 100% over everything. So again, could he bring in a Matt Nagy? Could he bring in a Steve Spagnuolo? And so what you put on tape, in today's game, especially again, you got a third string quarterback playing. So let's see what you do with this guy. What kind of offense that you're able to put together, call in today's game, because let's say for the sake of argument, one of these two get the head coaching gig in Tennessee. Well, you'll have a quote unquote franchise quarterback, but you ain't really got an explosive offense. So what can you put together on film that would give me confidence to take to the owner that we should hire you?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You got, especially a guy like Matt Nagy, right? Um, he's kind of, well, he is one of those guys. Of course, he was a head coach before. When with the Bears, things didn't work out so well, but he was with the Chiefs before that.
Hmm.
And his second time, which is currently with this team, he's taken a lot of shots, right? He's taken a lot of shots, and I see someone, James Smith, talked about EB, and that's what I was getting to. He's taking a lot of shots because people are like, he's not Eric Bieniemy. This team offensively has taken I guess you can say a turn for the worse now because they didn't make the playoffs this year, and so now uh, he's kind of on the brink of, okay, what do I want my last showing to be, offensively, even with this Chiefs team, because we know the writing's on the wall. He's not going to be here next year. He didn't sign. The report was he didn't sign his
Extension offer.
extension. Yeah, extension offer, and it was never said that he even offered him an extension, right? So uh, I think this is one of those games where he wants to, have, I can say, a good exit as a Chiefs offensive coordinator.
Look, for me, and people, I know people like me bring up EB. The problem with Eric Bieniemy is that he's not gonna be able to interview for any jobs this week. I think he may be able to do something on Zoom on the day off this week, but because his team is in the playoffs with the Chicago Bears and they don't have a chance for number one seed, so he has to prepare for this week's game. I think
But does
outside of
does he
him,
even?
well, no, no, no. I'm saying
I,
no, no. I'm saying I don't even know if he's going to get any offers to interview.
but what I'm saying
So
is, I know that, but I'm saying, like, if the Chiefs want Eric Bieniemy back, they're not going to interview. They're not going to have to interview him. It's just going to be a simple, hey, do you want to come back or not? Like
yeah,
that's what it's going to be. I don't feel like there's going to be a back and
I agree
forth.
with
Like,
that. No, no,
yeah,
I agree 1,000%. And to
their
be
only
quite honest,
conversation is going to be money. Like, how much you paying me to come back?
and are you going to actually let me call some plays, or is it going to be like last time? Which again, look, I just people have their own feelings about EB. You and I, we have our feelings about Eric, and we've seen firsthand the difference that he makes in this offense. And people, you can give Andy Reid all the credit you want. I don't care whether it's the good cop, bad cop. He has an effect on these players that no other coach has had, including Andy Reid. Andy Reid has a father figure type coach, but but Eric Bieniemy is someone who gets in your face, but he will also pat you on the back and sort of like he wants the best from you, but he's going to bring everything out of you. He's going to make sure he gets the best out of you, and he's going to demand excellence. And that's what, for the life of me, I can't understand why people wouldn't want that unless they're afraid. I mean, well, that's probably what it is. They're just afraid of it. But be that as it may, Steve, we look at this game. What are you looking for Chris Oladukin in today's game? I mean, this is going to be his third start. Was it third? No, his second start. And so, what do you feel like we'll see from him today?
Chris has a huge opportunity here. And I say that because the Chiefs currently don't have a backup quarterback on their, roster going into next year. Right now, you could say it's Chris Oladukin, but he has an opportunity to kind of solidify that. To say, hey, this is what I've done. You guys have seen me in real game action, not just preseason, not just come in when the team is winning or a week 17 when we don't. It doesn't matter. This is a game that really means something as far as wins and losses, and he has an
Actually, hey, hey,
opportunity.
hey,
Not
let
only
me.
that, not he has an opportunity not only to show this Chiefs team, but also show the rest of the league, like, hey, I'm a quarterback
Yeah.
that can get it done in the league.
No, 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 no. If I'm Chris, what I'm trying to prove in today's game is that Kansas City doesn't need to try to get a quarterback in the offseason. I'm going to be the number two. You release Minshew, injury reserve, whatever. You do what you got to do with him. But this game allows me to prove that I can be a number two backup quarterback. Because look, why would you want to go anyplace else? I mean, look, there's a good career in being a backup quarterback, and I mean, and you know the playbook. I mean,
It is until you see the dollar signs on it, what the starter
no,
gets and
no,
what the
no, no.
backup
I get
gets.
no. I get that. No, I get that. But let's keep it real. He ain't finna be no starter in the NFL, right? Come next year after 2.5 games, it's not gonna happen. So my thing is show that you can be a capable backup to Patrick. Because here's the thing: if Patrick isn't ready, you're gonna get a lot of the first team snaps, the first team reps. You know what I'm saying? If you can convince them today that you can be a solid number two, that means until Patrick comes back, you're gonna be taking the snaps with the ones and get more rest with that. Then he comes back, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and then you just revert back. I mean, but then also, again, I think he's still on his rookie deal or whatever. So, you play that out. Now, saying now when it comes to second contract, you may either get a second contract with the Chiefs as a higher paid backup quarterback, or perhaps you get that money from someplace else. I mean, look at Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is making $10 million a year as a backup quarterback. Ain't no harm in that. I mean, you ain't taking a lot of, you ain't taking a lot of hits. You ain't taking, all you and look. And the backup quarterback is generally the most popular person, in the city. Unless you got a superstar player, which we do. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. But it's what he wants though. At the end of the
yeah,
day, I mean, and it's what this Chiefs team wants because you got to remember too. Patrick may or may not be ready week one, week two, or week three,
correct,
right? So
correct.
you want to have is this and this when it comes to that, you think about what the Chiefs want. Are the Chiefs like, hey, we know we may not have Patrick for the first half of the for the first quarter of the season, right? What do we are we wanting to say? Hey, next year is a rebuild year because we've already. I mean, there's already been reports that saying, hey, the Chiefs are going to retool everybody. Are
Well,
they
I've been
coming out?
saying, well,
Are they coming? Hold on, real quick. Are they coming and saying, with this retool, is it win now, or are we still 1 year? And I know with Patrick, people are going to say, oh, they're never 1 year away. But if you have a retool year, I think you could use this next year to say, all right, let's get everybody on the same page. But then you run the risk of, some of the coaches may not be back. As far and I'm talking just specifically Steve Spagnuolo. Andy Reid's not getting younger either. So it will I say that to say Chris could possibly be a number one coming into next season, but is that what the Chiefs really want? Do you want somebody that can actually get you wins?
no, I get that. And so going back to what you say, I know there've been quote unquote reports, but that's something that we've talked about the last 2 weeks. And I've always said the Chiefs, with them being eliminated, need to get down to the studs, rip everything up and start basically from scratch and rebuilding this roster because again we got you got big money players who on the defense side of football didn't do so, didn't play so well, and I'm pointing out Chris Jones and I'm pointing out George Karlaftis, and so you
But I
know
don't. Here's one thing about that. I don't really like the term rebuild because
well
when you
and
because
that's where
when
I
you
was
say
going.
yeah because when you say like and when you think about rebuild mode when teams are in rebuild mode that
That's
means
tanking. I
you
mean, you're
got
going to
no
tank.
no that's not what it means. It means it's going to take you a little bit of time to figure out what your team is going to be and like what direction you're going. Like that doesn't mean that a rebuild mode means like hey next year don't even count us in the picture. I don't think the Chiefs are in that. Like I feel like they are. Um, they're
I,
not
I'm,
going to
I,
be in like a rebuild. You need
I'm
some pieces here and there, not a total like break it down like you said to the studs, like because that means you in some trouble for the next year or so.
well, no, 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 but no, but when I say said, you got to think about it. You know, everybody's talking about some running backs. Saying who's going to be back from there. You look at these
Yeah.
wide receivers. Look, the wide receiving room didn't live up to advertising. We don't know the situation with Travis Kelsey. I mean, are we going to need better? Are we going to need more tight ends? We're going to need better tight ends. I mean, this offensive line, we still got to figure out what that scenario is going to look like. So again, I mean, essentially, you've got to look at the entire roster and put stuff. I mean, and see what you're going to keep, see what you're going see what you're gonna let go, see what you're gonna draft. I'm saying so. I mean, so and the biggest thing for me is that I'm like you. I don't like the word tank. I don't like the word rebuild because again, Patrick is gonna be like Joe Burrow. He always feel like he can win every year, and I don't think Andy Reid would sign up for a rebuild in general because I just don't think he has it in him to be able to coach the team. The coach a rebuild type team, and honestly, when you look at it I just can't. I mean, hell, even the players wouldn't sign up for that. I mean, they just because after so much success, I want to see how they bounce back from a year like this. I mean, show me what kind of mentality you have to where okay, everything ain't hunky dory. You ain't made to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl for the last 6 7 years. So now let me see how you respond to that.
But we've been talking about that all season though. Like
Well,
a lot of they haven't showed us any bounce back all year.
but
Um,
again, but that's why in the off season, that's why you're gonna be like, what was it, the Papa Mat the Doctor Life, whatever. What I mean, that's why you got to go and rip everything out and try and look. You can start over and it still not be rebuilt. Look at the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, look, they they trade away all those draft picks to get Matthew Stafford, essentially saying F them picks, and they still found a way even with even after winning that Super Bowl, I mean they might have had one down year, I think, but they still find themselves in the playoffs and in the running to try to get back to the Super Bowl. And of course, here they are now.
yeah,
Without having to tank. I mean, because again, they found Puka Nakua in the fifth round. They went out and signed Devontae Adams. I mean, so I
I don't
mean,
see neither one of them guys walking into Arrowhead, one Arrowhead Drive anytime soon.
well, hold on.
Neither
That's
one of them dudes.
that's hold on. First of all, that's why you have a scouting department. And two, I think you're like 8 or 9 right now, eighth or ninth right now in the draft order. So I mean, you just got to be able to hit. I mean, look, this is a deep wide receiver room. Now I'm not saying go get a wide receiver. I'm not saying that, but because I think
You
you need to
can't
go D line. No, no,
on that topic though. You don't need a lot of number twos running around. Like the Chiefs got a lot of number two, number three wide receivers running
no,
around. You
I
you need a
agree. No.
legit number one wide receiver.
Hey, look. I'm someone who believes. I still believe in Tate, in Carnell Tate up in Ohio State. I mean, you can have a bad game, what I'm saying, and still be that dude. So I think he's one. But again, we'll of course have that discussion more on the red hour, and everybody join us for that tomorrow night. But I think that's the direction that they could go. But I think I'm like you. I would rather have somebody on the defensive line with Chris Jones to kind of push him. What I'm saying, because obviously George Karlaftis isn't it.
And I don't even
And
think
plus,
Chris.
and that's the other thing too. Can you use Chris as trade bait?
I mean, if you breaking it down, I feel like yeah, you can. It depends on what your defense is gonna look like next year too.
Or
Like
and then
what
also,
pieces you
what
have.
can you get and what can you get for him? Because again, what he's put on tape this year, the last 2 years, ain't been good. So I
Yeah,
mean,
his sack numbers have gone
his
down.
trade value, yeah, I mean, his trade value could go down. So, but all that being said, Steve, let's look at the X factor. We got a few minutes left. X factor for you offensively for the Chiefs in today's game.
Man, I it's my X factor is gonna be, of course, Travis Kelsey. Will this or will this not be his last game as a Kansas City Chief? I mean, everything else is kind of it is what it is as far as like the guys that are be playing. But that's one person that I'm looking at. Like, man, are you? Is this gonna be the last time we see Travis Kelsey in a Kansas City Chiefs jersey?
Yeah,
Or playing on the field as an NFL player because I definitely don't think he'll play for anybody else. But um, will he ride off into the sunset, or like the question I asked early on in the season, will he do a Kobe type tour? He said no, but I feel like, and that question was asked prior to Patrick, um, going down. And one person, you said that Andy Reid wouldn't sign up for a rebuild type year. I don't think Travis Kelsey would sign up to come back to a
Oh, of course not.
rebuild type year either. So. Um, yeah, I'm sure we'll know soon, within a couple weeks to come, what his decision is, because he said he would let the team know, what his plan is, especially going into the off season. So that's my X factor. I just, I'd like Kelsey to kind of go out, if it is his last game, go out and have a killer game.
Max Factor is still Matt Nagy. I mean, I don't know if Andy Reid's gonna allow him to call play. I mean, got nothing to lose, but again, this tape is gonna be part of your resume.
Mm.
Again, for the life of me, I can't figure out. I'm going back to EB how EB coached Mahomes up to two MVPs, two number one scoring offenses, and two number one teams in the NFL, stat wise, and Patrick Mahomes has looked like an average quarterback these last 3 years. That Matt Nagy's been his offensive coordinator, but yet he's somehow a hot candidate for a head coaching job. So, I have my theory on it, and it's a little bit more obvious, so where I don't even have to say it, but it's just, I mean, so we'll get a chance to see because if he does get hired, you know, we'll we'll have that conversation if and when he gets hired by someone else. But for me, this tape is going to be part of his resume, and I want to see how somebody's going to be able to justify. When you look at this Chiefs offense and what they've done the last 3 seasons, hey man, I need that guy calling being the head coach of my team
And
because well, let me say this because the last Super Bowl wins the Chiefs had, that was a defensive led team. That was not Mahomes because of all those drop passes. That was a Spags defensive led team that won that game in overtime against the 49ers last year. That again, the last 2 years, the last 3 years, including this year, Patrick has not even sniffed being in the MVP conversation since he last won the MVP, and that's a reflection of the offense, the team, the head coach, and the OC.
yeah,
So,
I agree, but I don't think it's just this game though. On his
oh no
resume,
no no
yeah,
no no,
his
I
his
get no no I
resume.
get that no no I get that, but again, I mean, if he's gonna be getting interviews this week, they're gonna be pulling up they hope they put up today's tape.
Nah, they
I
already
mean, I
know what
mean,
he
'cause- I
is.
mean, 'cause- I mean, I guess regardless, Andy Reid's gonna take the blame and share the credit. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Uh, X factor for you on defense.
Oh man.
Exactly.
Steve Spagnuolo, man. Will this not be his last game?
Don't be trying to be like me,
Un-
pick these
Under the
coaches, man.
helm. No, I mean it is
Be
what it
these
is. I'm
these
picking guys
coaches.
that I feel like means something, if they, means a lot if they come back. I mean, we
True
know what
that.
this
True that.
defense we know what this defense is. One thing we did not talk about, which we can talk about tomorrow on the Red Hour. Remember, you guys can join in with us tomorrow, 6:30 to 7:30, each and every Monday night during football season. Our last show will be tomorrow, but we'll talk about Trent McDuffie. Will Trent McDuffie, will they be use him as a bargaining chip? Which I don't think it makes sense. But back to my X factor, I feel like it's Steve Spagnuolo, man. Will he ride off into the sunset, or will he come back next year?
I was gonna go there, but you know what? I'm gonna go back to Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, man. I just want to see how as veterans and highest paid players, how you play this game today. Are you gonna play like you still have, like not that you have any incentives on the line, because I don't think either one of them getting 5 or 10 sacks today. I just want to see you play with some pride and just and be the leaders, you know, from the locker room to have these players follow your lead. You know what I'm saying? And if it is Spags' last game, go out. Go out on a win, playing hard and playing like you still care about the game. And that's saying that they don't. I just want to see it translated. We know the Raiders are looking for a reason to lose this game. Help them, give them every reason to. So that's my X factor.
Yeah, I know Chris Jones is probably going to try to go out and put some stats on the board as far as sacks go. I
Okay.
mean, he ended last season with 5 sacks. He currently is at 5 sacks right now. So let's just say he gets let's just say he has a heck of a game today and goes down and gets 5 sacks, right? He'll
Well, you
have
see,
he'll have 10 sacks, which will be his 2023 numbers. So so I don't want that to be the thing that that makes it like, oh well, we got to bring him back. And today's game is not indicative of his entire
right,
season this year in the way that it is. So I don't think this game means anything as far as if Chris Jones he's got 5 sacks this season. Let's just put it at
right.
that. Whatever he gets today is just like it is what it is, man.
And all I know is that if I'm George at training camp next year, I'm shouting at Chris like, well, when you get 10 sacks again, you come holler at me or something. Or when you get more than 5 sacks, and you come back and get in my face. Saying put some pressure on him. And to be honest, they should have been pushing each other. And the fact that they couldn't do it this season, I don't know. That's disappointing. But Steve, prediction for today's game: the
I mean, I
Chiefs
got
are, I
that.
think, 6.5 point under favorites, I believe.
Yeah, they'll get that. They'll definitely get that. It's gonna be like two toothless dogs gnawing at each other all game. But yeah, I think the Chiefs pull this one out, man. And it'll be a positive thing, going into next season with a win under your belt. Especially it'd be positive for Chris too. Oladukin, not Jones.
Yeah. I've got Chiefs win this game. I don't even think it's close. I think it's 24 to 10 or something like that. I think they do get some of their incentives. I do think Kareem gets his incentive. I think Oladukin looks uh, passable. I mean, it's the Raiders. They have the worst offense and defense, one of the worst defenses in the league. So they should be able to move the ball against them. I mean, the offense only pushes 248 yards a game. The Raiders do. So the defense should be able to do something. And Geno Smith turns the ball over ad nauseum, averaging one interception a game. So I like the Chiefs winning this game. So Steve, before we get out of here, I want to thank our sponsors one last time before we close out this regular season.
Yeah, I appreciate my friends over at Dealers on the Rosa. Had an outfit picked for my game day look for today. I might just put it on and take a picture just so y'all can see how fresh it was for today. But yeah, since I decided not to go out to Vegas, still gotta thank my friends over at Dealers on the Rosa. Remember, you can go check them out. They're changing over everything to spring, so I know it's winter time right now, but you got to be prepared. Always stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. Go make sure you go talk to them. My friends over at Dealers on the Rosa, Herman Brown over in the men's department.
And of course, I want to thank Todd White and Todd's Closers and Tailored Suits for styling me all season and actually the last 6, 7 years, I believe it's been. Of course, I also want to thank Gates Barbecue, where I'm at right now, over by the stadium. They've been with us since day one and will continue to be with us. I believe Steve and I will probably be heading to Santa Clara for Radio Row in the Super Bowl in February. So be on the lookout for that and for shows that we'll do throughout that week. Follow Steve Walls at Steve Walls KC. Follow me at Darren Smith NFL. Be sure to like and subscribe on our respective channels, as well as tune into the Red Hour, as Steve said tomorrow. Joining myself, DJ Q, Sean Tyler, and of course Steve Walls, and we'll recap the game, recap the season, see what the Chiefs might do in the offseason, and make sure you tune in on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. for the W Show with Steve Walls and his crew, along with myself. Saturday mornings with the Ship with Darren Smith, with Michael Coleman and Jordan Tucker. Going further, and then of course we'll be back this fall for, I don't know, a season 8, a season 7, 8 of the Red Hour and the pregame cheat sheet. So we'll be doing this well until the Chiefs get their new stadium in 2031. So for Steve Walls, I'm Darren Smith. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for your support. We love you. We out.